Ladies and gentlemen, life is not simply black or white, nor just good or bad. It is a constant journey of choices, thoughts, and actions. In Buddhism, the ideas of hell and heaven are not distant places, somewhere beyond the clouds or beneath the earth. They are states of mind, experiences we create for ourselves right here, in this very life. Heaven and hell are not destinations after death. They are conditions born from the way we live, the way we think, and the way we treat others. When your mind is filled with anger, jealousy, and hatred, you don't need to die to experience hell. You are already living in it. Every moment spent resenting someone, every thought soaked in bitterness, every word spoken out of ego burns like a fire inside you. You feel restless, uneasy, trapped. This is the hell that Buddhism speaks of, not eternal punishment, but the suffering we create through our own unwholesome actions and negative emotions. But when your heart is filled with kindness, when you forgive instead of hate, when you share instead of take, you taste heaven right here on earth. Peace is not found in some divine realm. It is experienced in the silence of a mind that no longer clings to anger or fear. Heaven, according to Buddhism, is the joy that comes when your thoughts, words, and actions are pure. It is the lightness of a soul free from greed and judgment. Every thought you think, every intention you carry, every choice you make builds your inner world. When your intentions are selfish, you walk deeper into darkness. But when you act with compassion, you step into light. This is the eternal law of cause and effect, karma. Heaven and hell are not rewards or punishments from outside forces. They are natural results of the seeds you plant in your own mind. So if you seek heaven, don't look for it in the sky. Create it in your heart. Speak words that heal, not hurt. Think thoughts that uplift, not destroy. Do actions that bring peace, not pain. The fire of hell will fade the moment you let go of anger. The gates of heaven will open the instant you choose love. The power lies not in gods or devils, but in the choices you make every single day. Heaven and hell are often imagined as faraway realms, where souls are sent after death. One filled with eternal joy, and the other with endless torment. But according to Buddhism, these are not external places. They are reflections of the mind. The Buddha taught that our consciousness creates our experience. When our mind is calm, compassionate, and pure, we live in a state of heaven. When it is disturbed, angry, or clouded by ignorance, we live in hell, even while walking on the same earth as everyone else. This understanding shifts the focus from a distant afterlife to the present moment. It reminds us that heaven and hell are not waiting for us at the end of life. They are shaped by our thoughts, emotions, and behavior right now. A mind filled with fear, jealousy, and anger experiences suffering, no matter how luxurious the surroundings may be. You could live in a palace, but if your heart is restless and consumed by negative emotions, that palace becomes a prison. On the other hand, a person with a peaceful heart can find heaven even in the simplest of places. It is not the world around you that defines your happiness or pain. It is the world within you. Every emotion, every reaction, every choice either creates peace or adds to your suffering. Buddhism teaches that the root of both heaven and hell lies in attachment and aversion. Our habit of constantly craving what we don't have and rejecting what we dislike. When we cling to desires, we become slaves to them, and when we resist pain, we amplify it. This cycle of craving and resistance is the fire that fuels our inner hell. But when we cultivate acceptance and awareness, when we let go of the need to control everything, that fire begins to fade. In its place arises a cool, clear sense of peace, a glimpse of heaven within. The realization that heaven and hell exist in our minds gives us power. We are no longer victims of fate or divine judgment. We become creators of our own inner world. Every breath, every word, and every thought becomes an opportunity to shift from suffering to serenity. When the mind is pure, the world becomes pure. When the heart is kind, the universe feels like heaven. When a person's mind is consumed by negative emotions, it becomes a battlefield. Anger burns like fire, jealousy poisons the heart, greed chains the soul, and hatred blinds the mind. These emotions don't just affect how we treat others. They destroy our inner peace, leading us into a state of suffering that Buddhism describes as hell. It's not a fiery pit beneath the earth. It's the torment that arises within when our thoughts are filled with bitterness and pain. This mental suffering can be far worse than any physical discomfort because it follows us wherever we go. You can't escape it by changing your surroundings. It lives inside you, growing stronger with every hateful thought. When we hold on to anger, it eats away at our energy and happiness. The mind becomes restless, the body tense, and the heart heavy. Jealousy does the same. It makes us focus on what others have and what we lack, trapping us in constant comparison. Greed never allows contentment. It whispers that no matter what we achieve, it's never enough. These negative emotions feed each other, creating a cycle of inner chaos. The more we feed them, the deeper we sink into our own personal hell. In Buddhism, understanding the cause of suffering is the first step to liberation. The cause is not other people or outside circumstances. It is the reaction within us. When something unpleasant happens, we have two choices: to resist it with anger or to observe it with awareness. The first leads to more pain. The second opens the door to peace. Each moment we choose awareness over reaction, we weaken the roots of hell within us. Hell is not punishment. It's a result of our own mental state. Every time we lash out, every time we envy, every time we hold a grudge, we are burning ourselves more than anyone else. The flames of hate never hurt their target as much as they destroy the one who holds them. But the beauty of this truth is that it also gives us control. The same mind that creates hell has the power to extinguish it. By practicing compassion, forgiveness, and understanding, we calm the inner storm and begin to rise above the suffering we once created. Compassion, forgiveness, and peace are not just moral virtues, they are the foundation of inner freedom. In Buddhism, these qualities are the essence of heaven, a state of mind that shines with calmness and joy. When a person chooses kindness over cruelty and understanding over judgment, life begins to change from within. There is a deep stillness, that replaces the noise of worry and anger. The heart becomes lighter and the mind clearer. Heaven is not something to be reached after death. It is born the moment we begin to act with love and mindfulness in our everyday lives. When we practice compassion, we open ourselves to the suffering of others. This does not make us weaker, it makes us wiser. The pain we once saw as a burden becomes a teacher. We start to realize that everyone, in some way, is fighting their own battle. Forgiveness, too, is a form of liberation. Holding grudges ties us to the past, while forgiveness releases us from that chain. The instant you forgive someone, you are not doing it for them. You are freeing your own soul from the weight of anger. That release is heaven itself. A state where your heart no longer trembles under the pressure of resentment. Peace follows naturally when the heart is clean. You don't have to search for it in temples or mountaintops. Peace exists where ego ends. A person who practices mindfulness can find heaven even in the middle of chaos, because their mind no longer reacts to every wave of emotion. This calmness creates harmony, not just within but also around them. Others feel safe in their presence, because such a person radiates warmth and stability. In this heavenly state, joy is not dependent on possessions, people, or achievements. It is born from the understanding that everything in life is temporary, and that clinging to anything leads to suffering. When you accept this truth, you begin to live with grace and balance. You become more patient, more loving, and more present. The smile on your face no longer depends on external circumstances. It comes from inner clarity. That is what Buddhism calls heaven, a state of heart so pure that even the smallest moment feels full of light. Karma is one of the most profound teachings in Buddhism, revealing that everything we experience is a reflection of our own intentions, words, and actions. It is not a system of reward or punishment, but a natural law, like gravity. Whatever energy we send out into the world eventually returns to us. When we act with greed, anger, or ignorance, we create suffering for ourselves and others. But when we act with generosity, patience, and compassion, we invite peace and happiness into our lives. Heaven and hell, therefore, are not mysterious places. They are the results of the karma we create every single moment. Every thought matters. The mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds we plant will grow. If we plant seeds of anger, we harvest bitterness. If we plant seeds of kindness, we harvest joy. The beauty of karma is that it gives us full responsibility for our lives. We are not victims of fate. We are authors of our own experiences. Each decision, no matter how small, shapes our inner world. When we choose to speak kindly, when we forgive instead of hate, when we help instead of harm, we create a ripple of positive energy that not only transforms us, but also touches everyone around us. Buddhism teaches that the state of our mind determines the kind of world we see. If our thoughts are dark, the world appears dark. If our mind is filled with gratitude, the world feels lighter and more beautiful. Karma is the bridge between thought and experience. It connects what we think and do with what we later feel. This is why awareness is so important. By becoming mindful of our actions, we can stop creating the causes of suffering and start cultivating the causes of peace. The law of karma does not demand perfection. It invites understanding. Mistakes can be powerful teachers if we learn from them with humility. Every moment gives us the chance to change direction, to replace harmful thoughts with kind ones. Heaven and hell are not fixed destinies, but continuous creations of our own consciousness. By aligning our intentions with love and truth, we move closer to heaven. By acting out of selfishness and hatred, we descend into hell. Karma simply reflects who we choose to be. In Buddhism, no state of suffering is permanent. No one is condemned to live in the darkness of their mistakes forever. Every moment holds the possibility of transformation, because change begins the instant awareness arises. Even when someone has lived with anger, greed, or hatred, they can still awaken to understanding and compassion. The power to move from hell to heaven lies in the mind itself. The mind that once created suffering can also create peace. It is never too late to start again, to choose differently, to purify the heart and free oneself from pain. Transformation begins with acceptance. The first step is to stop running from your suffering and instead look at it directly. When you observe your anger without judgment, it loses its control over you. When you acknowledge your mistakes, you begin to heal from them. This awareness brings clarity, and with clarity comes choice. The choice to let go of the habits that have caused your suffering. Buddhism teaches that even a single moment of mindfulness can begin to dissolve years of accumulated negativity. The flame of awareness burns away ignorance, revealing the possibility of peace that was always within you. Compassion is the next step in transformation. It starts with yourself. Instead of punishing yourself for your past actions, you learn to treat yourself with patience and understanding. The same compassion you extend to others must also be given to your own heart. When you forgive yourself, the weight of guilt begins to lift, and light begins to enter. As your heart softens, it naturally expands to include others. The walls built by ego and pain start to fall, and connection takes their place. This connection is the essence of heaven, a state where love flows freely, without fear or boundaries. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every decision to choose peace over conflict is a step toward transformation. The path may not be easy, but it is always possible. Even a drop of good intention can purify an ocean of negativity if practiced consistently. In the light of mindfulness and compassion, the darkest mind can become luminous. That is the beauty of the human spirit, its endless ability to rise, renew, and return to peace no matter how far it has fallen. Each moment in life offers a doorway to either heaven or hell, and it is the state of our mind that determines which one we walk through. Heaven and hell are not somewhere we go after death. They are experiences we create right now, through the quality of our thoughts, emotions, and awareness. When we react to challenges with anger, envy, or fear, we fall into a mental state that feels heavy and painful. But when we respond with understanding, patience, and compassion, that same moment turns peaceful and light. Every thought, every reaction is a choice, and that choice defines the reality we live in. The mind is incredibly powerful, It colors every experience. Two people can face the same situation. One feels despair, the other feels calm. The difference is not in the situation itself, but in the perception of it. Buddhism teaches that we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we interpret it. A calm and mindful mind transforms even pain into wisdom, while an untrained mind turns even comfort into suffering. Heaven and hell are simply reflections of this truth, shaped by our mental habits and level of awareness. When we live with mindfulness, we begin to notice the small moments of heaven that exist all around us. The softness of a smile, the quiet of the morning, the feeling of gratitude for life itself. These moments remind us that peace is never far away. It is hidden beneath layers of restlessness and desire. Every breath taken with awareness brings us closer to that peaceful state. But when we live in ignorance, lost in distraction or negativity, even the most beautiful moments can feel empty and meaningless. The practice of mindfulness and compassion allows us to choose heaven over hell, again and again, in every situation. When someone hurts us and we choose forgiveness, we rise above pain. When life challenges us and we choose patience, we build strength. Heaven and hell are not rewards or punishments, they are the immediate consequences of how we meet life. The moment we stop blaming the world and take responsibility for our inner state, we realize that paradise and suffering have always been within us, waiting for us to choose which one to live in. Thanks for watching.